Welcome to a show that you all wait for all year. A very, very special show because it's a report card on all the technology of that entire year that's gone by, 2019. But we'll do a whole lot more than just talk about what happened in 2019. From the best headlines and the worst headlines, from what really mattered and had an impact, the best gadgets of 2019, the big flops, and then we'll also talk about predictions of 2020. And joining me, Prasanto Roy, policy consultant and columnist. He writes for the BBC and India Today. And Nandagopal Rajan, editor, new media for Indian Express. Gentlemen, welcome to a very special show. Very happy to have both of you here. And we'll dive right into what I always do every single week when I do this show, which is headlines, but we'll do it very differently. I'm going to give you the choice of two headlines each.
I'd say AI everywhere, and in lots of things you don't even realize it's AI. So there are at least 10 things offhand I can say, but every time you swipe a card, the validation, verification, authentication, that is significantly using AI and machine learning, including the fact that if a mistake is made or if fraud happens or whatever, that system learns, and minutes later that system blocks similar stuff happening. So that is one. Pretty much any kind of analytics, search. So search has become sharpened and refined and better with AI.
I'll get your first in now.
I think this is the year when we started looking at privacy more seriously. The other side of the same story is the fact that we have also started looking at social media more seriously. And I don't know whether there is a growing distrust of social media, people going away from social media. So it's become a necessary evil, and a lot of that is to do with privacy.
Okay, that's a good one. Both good ones. Okay, second headline that you think really mattered in 2019.
Second's a tough one. I have a lot of contenders. Well, I think one, broadband everywhere, and the tipping point for broadband where you've got more than half the population onto broadband. So over 600 million people, typically mobile internet broadband. And if you look at wireline broadband, that's really taken off because the baseline now is 100 Mbps in at least a lot of complexes. Very affordable, 100 Mbps, almost unlimited, or with so much of data.
Yeah, which you almost can't consume unless you're doing some strange things every day, right?
Yes, but even if those strange things involve watching 3 different video streams that you shouldn't be or whatever, you can still do it very easily.
Within that entire thing. Okay, all right. Second headline that you really think mattered.
I think this was the year in which the smartphone sort of finally got a new form factor after a long time. Because it is getting really boring with all the phones looking the same, and you had the Fold come along.
But there's a whole lot more headlines that our team actually put together. From 5G, the fact that we started talking about this year, the impact may well be next year and the year that comes in, and a whole lot more of other really big headlines. Let's take a look at what 2019 tech headlines really were all about.
It's time to wrap up 2019, the big tech year that was. And looking back, here is everything that made headlines and made us sit back, sometimes reread and even go, oh my God. 2019 can officially be known as the year 5G came to life. Not in India yet though, but all smartphone manufacturers came out with their 5G variant phones and chipsets like the Qualcomm Snapdragon 865. The data speed on 5G networks is almost double than that of the existing 4G. This was a year that the world's number 2 phone manufacturer was banned in the US over privacy concerns and reports of data leaks to the Chinese government. Despite the ban, Huawei was successful in shipping 230 million smartphones this year. And Huawei has developed its own OS, Harmony OS. So let's see if this comes to their phones in 2020. Foldable phones came to life this year and were no longer just concepts. The Samsung Galaxy Fold was launched in India as well for around 1,65,000 rupees, while Huawei's Mate X was launched globally. The foldable phones and phones with dual screens drew a lot of attention to fluid and changeable form factors in 2019.
Okay, now let's get down to the part that I think I'm going to really enjoy. I'm going to do 2 best-offs with you. One is best tech of 2019. It can be a gadget or device, and that's what I'll prefer. It could be a technology, right? And then we'll come down to the best gadget or technology. And I'll pin you down to just one of the decade because we are switching decades now. So we've had a 10-year tech, and we've actually called it the best 10 years tech has ever seen. We'll start off with the best tech of 2019. A gadget or a device?
For me, it's an easy pick. I'll say the iPhone 11. because finally you have an iPhone that lasts an entire day when it comes to battery.
So isn't that sad that you actually have to say that, finally you have a device that lasts the whole day, which usually what would happen with a 6,000 rupee Android device 3 years back. So is that sad or is that good?
I don't know, it's late, but definitely the fact that the most impactful phone in the world has fixed its biggest pain problem.
I think the smartphone camera has come to a level where the 10K level upward phones are pretty good. If I had to pick a gadget and go a little wider from the consumer side, I'd be probably looking at drones, which are across the spectrum now, working for police, military, fire department. In this last 1 year, we suddenly saw an explosion of that.
And we started to see indigenous companies actually come up with some very interesting drones. So that's a big game changer.
The drone policy and all of that helped. And suddenly we've seen an explosion of them being used, not just by individual photographers and so on, but pretty much every police department.
You've actually had Apple's new AirPods come out with noise cancellation. You've had the 16-inch MacBook come out, the Pro version. Those are the Apple ones that I thought were interesting and this thing. The Apple Watch Series 5 with the fact that it could do ECG. So these were the good ones from Apple. Then you had an incredible amount of stuff come out from other companies in phones, in laptops and otherwise. And then air purifiers this year became a completely different ball game where this actually got indigenized, customized for Indian conditions, different kind of technologies were tried out.
I think the other thing, if you look at a category, is probably big screen smart televisions. This year, they really exploded at price points which were 30,000 upward.
And you're talking about 4K. I mean, you're not even talking
4K.
about HD. You're talking about 4K, big screen and price points that were absolutely dramatic. And of course, we are very confused. I have another show called Cell Guru. I'm actually thinking, should we change the name of that to Cell and TV Guru? Because every mobile phone company is coming out with a TV. So that's some of what the panel, the two people with me, have come up with. But there's a lot more that we actually thought about that were game changers in 2019. When we come back, I'm going to pin them down to the actual device of the decade.
Smartwatches became truly independent of the phone because of the eSIM features. While the Apple Watch Series 5 was one of our favorites with its always-on display and ECG app, Samsung also came in strong with its Galaxy Watch with eSIM with a 4-day battery life. We also loved running with the Huawei Watch GT2. Garmin's Forerunner 245 became a solid contender for runners, as did the more affordable Amazfit GTS. But fitness bands made a huge comeback this year with the absolutely phenomenal Honor Band 5 with a 14-day battery life, AMOLED screen and SpO2 sensor. Phone makers made some great TVs this year, be it the OnePlus Q1 Pro with a motorized soundbar or Xiaomi's Mi TV 4X. Traditional TV makers like LG, Samsung and Sony kept the innovation going with their high-end TVs. And we love that even Sansui made a comeback with a UHD TV. Air purifiers finally grew up and started operating for India-specific conditions. Dyson's Pure Hot Cool, Sharp's purifiers with plasma cluster technology and Xiaomi were the standout performers. Apple ventured into noise-cancelling earphones with the AirPods Pro. In headphones, we loved noise-cancelling cans like the Sennheiser Momentum 3, the Bose 700 and the Jabra 85H, while the older Sony XM3 still rules the roost. When it came to room speakers, we loved the Bose S1 Pro stereo speakers, the luxurious Deviale Phantom reactors, Marshall's Flow speakers and even Harman Citation series. The iPad 10.2 and Samsung Tab S6 became game changers since they came with smart keyboards and support for stylus, almost replacing laptops. For the pros, we saw powerful beasts like the MacBook Pro 16-inch and Acer's new Concept D series. Lenovo's ThinkBook series, HP Spectre X360, Dell's XPS series were mighty workhorses, but the standout in innovation may well be the Asus ZenBook Pro Duo with 2 screens. Gamers could choose from Lenovo's Legion series, HP Omen X2S, or the mighty Asus ROG Zephyrus SGX701. In the world of mirrorless and high-end cameras, you could pick from the Panasonic S1, Sony's A7 Mark III, the Nikon Z6, or Fujifilm's X-T30. For adrenaline junkies, action camera king GoPro finally got serious competition from the awesome new DJI Osmo Action Cam. Alexa and Google became your new bedfellows with smart speakers or displays like the Google Nest Mini, the Amazon Echo Show 5 and Lenovo Smart Display. A special shout out to ebook readers like the Amazon Kindle Oasis. The Saregama Go brought us nostalgia in a pocket. Tech came to the doorstep with smart gadgets like Wipro Smart Doorbell. Grooming became more tech savvy with the Bronze Series 9 electric shavers for men, Dyson's Airwrap which offered a twirl for every curl. Art met technology with the Netgear mural, and runners got a boost with Adidas's new Ultra Boost range. Cleaning became fun with the Dyson V11, while the Bose frames combined style with sound. Let's just say 2020 has a lot to live up to.
Let's take a quick break right now. We've got lots more to cover on the show, including the best gadget of the decade.
Answer this question to win an Honor Band 5. Which of the following features is unique to the Honor Band 5 from most other fitness bands in the segment? Water resistant up to 50 meters, AMOLED display, or SpO2 monitor? Send in your answers to this email ID or tweet us at the Gadgets 360 Show. 10 lucky winners will win an Honor Band 5 each. Terms and conditions apply.
You know, sometimes whenever I'm giving a little talk somewhere, I usually start by saying this is the best time to be alive in terms of technology. The last 5 years, we've seen more tech than since the dawn of civilization. And most people don't really contradict me. That people seem to believe it's actually very, very true, right? But we're talking 10 years. So that means absolutely and totally this has to be the best 10 years technology's ever seen. So therefore, pinning you down to one thing. It could be one piece of tech, it could be one device, but it has to be of the decade. I'll start with you.
I'll go for the iPad, because the iPhone has been there for longer than a decade and it's had its impact, but the iPad has changed the way people work.
But the very fact that tablet usage is going down now, would it really be the device of the decade?
No, but it's going down because of smartphones, not because of laptops. I would say that this has sort of taken the space of the entry-level laptop, even the top-end laptop, and a lot of places you actually don't need a laptop anymore because the iPad can, iPad do that job.
Pinning you down, one piece of technology or a device.
So I'll start with mentioning three converged ones and come to one. The smartphone. So we have 1.2 billion phone subscriptions in India. More than 600 million of them are now smartphones with high-speed connectivity, which is dramatic. Now what's driving them? So 4G video content, etc. But the one driver app, the biggest app of the decade was WhatsApp. WhatsApp actually is the biggest app of the year in downloads, biggest app of the decade in downloads, both in India and the world, which is remarkable.
So I'm going to go with something very, very different from what the two of you. I agree with both of you, and I think it's great that we're talking about. I think the biggest impact has been the fact that people became content creators. I think this was something that we couldn't even have dreamt of 10 years back, where, you make your own videos, you don't have to be signed on for a movie, you can be an influencer. TikTok has made stars of people in B towns, C towns. Your neighborhood boy who did nothing is got 1 million followers, and they're doing great content. So the content creation and the power it's brought to the people. You're talking about consumption. You're talking about why people use phones so much. The content consumption moved from consumption to creation. And everybody today, look at the current 11 and 12-year-olds. They don't talk about what they are consuming. They're only talking about what they have to create.
Years of mind-blowing tech has gone by, and like all big developments, technology also shows us a mirror of a shift in ideology, in innovation, in how we live our lives. Here's what stood out for us in this decade. While the iPad changed the way we work, another Apple gadget that deserves a special mention in this decade's Hall of Fame is the Apple Watch. From the day it launched in 2015, we've seen it take over all wrists, be it the uber-cool millennials, the fashionistas, the fitness-conscious, or even the geeks. And now with its ECG features, the watch is ready for the next decade. Talking to Alexa has become part of our daily lives, with toddlers as young as 8 months saying Alexa before mommy, which is why the many iterations of the Amazon Echo launched since 2014 have taken a special place in our hearts. From the Echo Dot speakers to the new Echo Shows, Alexa can now play show and tell. Is the next decade ready for the privacy concerns? Time will tell. Since its launch in 2014, a selfie stick has made headlines for being a tourist's arm candy and at times even causing accidents among the new selfie-obsessed generation, causing them to be banned across several museums. Who knew a laptop could be that thin? The 2013 MacBook Air redefined the modern laptop. And how can we forget, while in 2012 Tesla's Model S made us realize that a car too can be a gadget, in 2017 the Dyson Supersonic changed the look of a hair drying tool. And let's not forget the drones. The DJI Phantom paved the path of seeing a world from a bird's eye view.
Now let's move on to the fact that everything can't be good, right? I mean, there had to be some flops of the year, right? So any flops that come to mind, it could again be technology, it could be apps, it could be a device. I'll start with you.
I think there's lots, but if you go wider than the phone kind of consumer tech, I think electric vehicles have been a bit of a disappointment, in the sense that I thought in this decade we'd really take off with electric vehicles, but what we've seen really take off in EVs have been these little rickety rickshaws. Okay, now I won't put that down or mock those, but the fact is they're not really solving the problem of EVs in terms of the carbon footprint and things like that. Electricity is being tapped off all kinds of places. Our fuel is all fossil fuel, which is powering this electric stuff. So we actually have lakhs, hundreds of thousands of those EVs. I hope to see going forward in the next 2 years proper EVs and hybrids and a regulatory framework and a supporting charging framework which supports that. That is the one revolution I think have missed, and we have fallen about 5 or 10 years behind China.
Really? Okay. What do you think?
So, at a time when we are all talking about 5G, I still can't make a phone call, and call me on WhatsApp has become almost like my caller tune. So I'm not sure, we should be talking about 5G now when we just can't fix a straightforward voice call. So I think connectivity in India is a big fail for me.
All right, we also have this incredible list of tech flops. Take a look.
Apart from Instagram crashing, WhatsApp hanging and all our hearts stopping, there were a lot of major tech flops in 2019. WhatsApp's spyware attack made headlines for quite a while this year. The spyware also allowed hackers to send malicious data packets to users and listen in on all their calls and even read the messages. There was also some tech that we didn't get to see at all, and others that were sheer disappointments. Apple cancelled its much-awaited AirPower, which was supposed to be a wireless charging mat. Google's big cloud gaming service is still in beta stage. This is Google Stadia, and while it was launched by the company, it is not as exciting as what everyone expected it to be. And of course, the most recent tech fail was when Tesla's Elon Musk threw a sledgehammer at the Cybertruck launch. The armor glass that it is made of smashed.
Okay, the last category, and this I think is the one where I enjoy myself the most. This is the crystal ball gazing part, where our two experts will now be told about crystal ball gazing. Look into that beautiful ball and tell me everything about 2020. But it has to be something that you're very excited about.
I would again go for the foldable devices because I want to see what Microsoft, the thing that they don't want to call a phone. I want to see all those kind of foldable form factors coming in. And again, the foldable device or the foldable display is not just going to be limited to a smartphone. It's going to be all over the place, from watches to laptops. But again, also, I'm slightly curious about 5G, whether it will actually come to India next year. I don't think so. But what it's going to do for us
I think
also,
it
we
will
have
be
no
first
clue.
quarter of 2021. But you will at least start hearing and seeing what 5G can do in the rest of the world. So we will kind of know what we should be expecting. So will we get all of that or not? We haven't got it in any of the Gs. So let's see if we get it in 5G, right? All right. What do you think? 2020, what excites you the
I
most?
have this thing every year that I hope the next year will give me a usable battery life. I think one day is great. I mean, this is life-changing.
But you don't think 2019 did quite well in terms of the fast chargings, the higher capacities? People
The M30S. We have seen that.
This is where I think, his highlight was that a phone lasts one day. Okay, I think we need to grow our aspirations. We've reached
No, it's
the
different.
moon.
Even the iPhone lasts a day now.
He said even an iPhone.
Even an
That's
iPhone lasts a
completely
day.
different.
Yeah.
I mean,
So,
that's a sentence that I never thought will be actually put together ever.
I know, and we've been to the moon 50 years ago, and we send up 100 satellites at a time from India. I would imagine we should be able to get to a stage where a phone can last 2 days. And
I will actually say that I'll say 2020 is the year when the power bank goes to die.
Well, I don't think it will die, but I think 2020 will be where 2 days will become the norm rather than the absolute exception. I am very, very confident of that. With some of the new technologies that have come in, both in terms of the way they're being able to put in more battery, as in the MAH has been improved, and the fast charging, 50 watts. You can actually go from 0 to 100 battery life in 30 minutes. Those things are big deals. I mean, you'd be thrilled if somebody had even said that as imagination 5 years back. A 7000 mAh phone that is not thicker and charge that phone in about 40 minutes.
But the other thing I'm looking forward to is a lot more smart tech in the house, which is voice, Alexa, Google Home, etc. enabled.
All right, this was fantastic. Thank you so much. I look forward to seeing you. I think one of the things I'm looking forward to in 2020 is seeing the two of you more often on this show. Thank you so much for being with us. Of course, before we go, we have a few other people that have given us their thoughts, some celebrities, some actors, and some people from the industry. Let's take a look, and that will be our going away package. See you next week.
5G, I'm hoping will make a bigger impact in 2020. And as far as smartphones are concerned, I'm looking at newer designs. Hopefully there will be a limit to the number of cameras that we can have in smartphones.
5G would be coming real in I think in 2020, at least in terms that basically hardware people will start coming out with the devices. The reason is because I think at least the hardware brands has to be much ahead of the services rolling out before.
I think it is a laptop because I'm a kind of basic in life. I don't use a lot of gadgets because everything is there. I open my laptop, the net is there.